So I'm doing this video because a friend of mine was asking me if I can speak about teaching or any of the concepts that I most would like to put out there and to get some feedback on. And one of them that I feel strongly about is isolationism and neutrality. Based on the acts that were um, there in the 1930s, there was quite a bit as far as still wanting to trade with nations that were involved in the war, while not necessarily sending troops and especially to the belligerents, as they would call them, during the war. And I know that Ron Paul was very big on non-interventionism as his campaign for running for president during 2012. And my sentiments on the past 80 years of continued aggression, war, and propping up dictators or propping up supposed democracies around the world, getting involved in South America, getting involved in the Middle East, post-World War II, and our fight against communism. My sentiments about unilateralism and non-interventionism, and I'll explain the difference between the two. Basically, non-interventionists and isolationists were still separate, but non-interventionists basically did not want to engage in conflict, as well as they did not want to aid, and isolationists wanted to withdraw the U.S. from conflict with any direct military as well. And unilateralism basically wanted to still continue on with aiding and funding those during conflict. And so we have taken unilateralism and our place in the world as a world power to an unprecedented place where if you're a 9/11 truther, which I fully agree with, I do not believe that the Saudis were not aided and were not coerced and helped by our own government here. But I also believe that everything that was done in Iraq led to the creation of ISIS. I don't agree with Syria's Assad in his bombing of his own people, but I don't believe that he necessarily is responsible for all the bombing of his own people, which is obviously noted by what has been going on with ISIS in the Levant. Our strategy in the U.S., whether you look at President Barack Obama, whether you look at President George Bush, or whether you look at Clinton or the Bush before him, or you're looking at Reagan, you pretty much go back all the way through, has been a constant intervention into the affairs of foreign countries. For it, we have basically gotten contracts to some of our biggest contractors here in the U.S. We have gotten rich on destroying countries, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and sitting back and feeling like the Kardashians is more important. I mean, I don't want to get too drastic on that, but we have gotten comfortable with allowing our government to go rogue and rampant on the affairs of foreign countries. And what have we gotten for it except for less unity amongst ourselves even? We have polarized Democrats and Republicans against each other. We have made those conversations between them more about social issues than we have about foreign policy, while we continue to kill hundreds of thousands of foreign nationals. We continue to sit back comfortably having arguments with ourselves, and our activists are nowhere near what they were during the 70s, and a lot of that has to do with the degradation of our educational system here. But I am going to tell you what I am for, because I could talk about the problem until I'm blue in the face. I am for aiding only our allies. Those allies that continue to seek the prosperity of their own people, those allies who have a constitution that is written by their own people, those allies who seek to have social responsibility as well as upward mobility for their own people. I am not for aiding any other dictator. I'm not for aiding any other country that is out there that continues to prop up false democracies that have a policy much like Syria's of coup d'etats that are that leave their people with basically nothing more than a dictator. I am for ending tyranny, but I'm not for doing that at the edge of a bomb. I'm not for doing that at the edge of a guided missile, nor am I for doing that at the tip of a drone. We have a Department of Defense, not one of offense, and yet and still we treat it exactly like that. We treat it as if we are on the offensive against these other countries, and you have folks on both sides of the aisle that support intervention into all kinds of things based on seeing the news media and these quick reactions to things that honestly our media is complicit in the midst of aiding the attacks on everyone from those in the Middle East to those that are in Afghanistan to issues that have come about all over the world. If you look back over the past 50 to 60 years, it's kind of some of the same players. I mean, Assad's father was doing the same thing he was beforehand. We were constantly aiding Egypt, and we were consistently aiding those who were a part of Al-Qaeda. We were consistently aiding those who are part of ISIS and ISIL. We were consistently aiding those in Vietnam. We were consistently aiding those in South America and in the middle of Central America. We have aided all of these people who have been puppets until they don't want to be puppets anymore. And I am really tired of seeing a bunch of people die who have no need to die based on the media's complicit bias, to the ignorance that they hear from cabinets of complete monsters, if you ask me, for involving us into conflicts that have nothing to do with us. Attacks on U.S. soil, for all I'm concerned, last major attack on U.S. soil was pretty much during the USS Cole bombing. And Osama bin Laden deserved to see justice for that. But anything before that, you can pretty much scratch off anything that has to do with Vietnam, because I feel we fought the French's war, we fought France's war over their plantations that they had in Europe or over in Vietnam, and when they didn't want to fight themselves and were routed from the country, we came in to protect an ally who frankly didn't want to fight the war themselves. Before that, you've got World War II. That's the last conflict that I feel was any justified means of getting involved in a war whatsoever. But when you have a consistent unilateral foreign policy of intervening, aiding, funding, shipping weapons caches and supplies to foreign countries, and they continue to create groups that basically blow back on you and who have beef or issue with the fact that you continue to aid and fund enemies of that country or those who would become dictators over these people, you have to be an absolute crazy loon to keep getting caught up in the midst of this hellstorm that the media continues to hype of constant intervention in the midst of these countries who have nothing to do with any attack on U.S. presence here or abroad. The last time an embassy was hit, we didn't go run up on Iran, even though probably should have. So I would love to see just a concrete policy that is supported by the people here that says we will not continue to get ourselves involved in killing other people on this planet. I'm all for unity. Straight up, I'm for loving anybody that is a human being. I'm not a humanist. I'm actually a Christian. I love Muslims. I love Hindus. I love Taoists. I love Sikhs. I love Zoroastrians. I love you. No matter who you are on this planet, I have love for you. Now, if you are a separationist, if you believe in separating one person from another, and your ideas lead to deaths and killing, well, I can't support you. But I still love you and I still care for you, and I don't think that your kids deserve to die because you've got a bad idea. But getting involved in the midst of conflicts because of one person that's friendly to your government over the other, I'm just tired of it, man. I'm tired of seeing good people send their kids over to fight wars for politicians who really don't have any concern for us. And you don't have concern for us if you can send us to die. I was enlisted. I wasn't an officer. And most of my friends that get sent overseas, young guys that are in their 20s and in their 30s, guys, I'm tired of people sending you to go die. We have a Department of Defense, not a Department of Offense. Excuse me. It's one of the most passionate things that I could ever talk about is our inability to see that we are played like fools by either oligarchs that are running our complicit military industrial complex media, as well as our political theater. I'm very much so tired of it. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I love history. I absolutely love history, and not the single layer of history that you got in high school. I've read history all over the world. I've studied ancient religions, politics. I am simply tired of watching good people die. Thank you.